So, Internet, thank you once again for joining me. I'm very, very happy to be joined by a wonderful actress who's been one of my recent favourite verticals, Secrets of Vixen, and that is the beautiful Alyssa Jordan-Jones. Here she
Hi,
is. I'm
Jen.
going to ask Alyssa to give a little introduction of herself to the Internet. So, I guess if you meet someone for the first time, what would you say? How would you introduce yourself?
Hello, Internet, wonderful Internet that I love so much. I am Alyssa Jordan-Jones. I am an actress now based in Los Angeles, but born and raised in Wichita Falls, Texas. The South.
So, my first question is, as a very English person, as probably everyone's got from the accent, Wichita Falls, Texas, is that a big town, small town, city? What's that like?
Very, very small town. Like population of probably 20,000 people. And that's not a lot because Texas is very wide. So that's really small town.
So, question is then, when you were growing up, performing, was that part of your life, or were you sporty, or were there other passions? Kind of, what was Alyssa into when she was younger?
Oh, what was I into when I was younger? I was into anything that I could fit doing a backflip in. I really loved athletics a lot. I grew up doing cheerleading and elite gymnastics and then competitive cheerleading as well. And performing not on a theatrical standpoint yet, but just at an athleticism standpoint was one of the things I always chased when I was younger. And it's so fun. Yeah.
Okay, this also now explains why you're so good at some of the stuff you do in Secrets of Vixen. So you were saying with the gymnastics, did you have one of the apparatus that was your thing? Were you floor, were you beam? Was there one that was like, this is the one we want Alyssa on? This is her star piece.
Oh my gosh, beam was my favorite thing in the world. Beam and the bars, the uneven bars.
Yep.
Um, I would say beam when I first tried it, I was so scared because it's so high and I was so tiny. I was so tiny. I mean, I'm 5'9" now, but I was so tiny and doing backflips off of like a 4-foot high beam, 5-foot high beam was so daunting, but that just motivated me to do it even more. And then the bars were even scary because you have to flip in between the uneven bars and catch on to it. And my coaches were like, I don't know if you can do it. It's kind of too above your caliber. I was like, watch this. And I did it. I really did. I wasn't scared.
Are you one of those people that kind of thrives on being told, we don't think you can do this? And you're like, I think you'll find. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's me as well.
100%. Awesome.
It's quite a good motivator, isn't it? That it's like, I think you'll find you're underestimating me here.
Yeah.
So, presumably, then for cheerleading, it's very exciting to have someone with your gymnastic skills because presumably you're then set to go. How did sort of cheerleading win out? Kind of as it sounds like you said you were doing that competitive. Was that the one that took over as the main passion?
Yes. Yes. After I moved from Texas to South Jersey for a little bit. The cheer culture over there is really heavy. And I went to a random gym just because I haven't tumbled in a while, and tumbling is really fun, doing backflips. And I, one of the coaches were like, you should just try out for one of like the teams around here. And I was like, I don't know if I can do that. And I watched a couple of videos. The way I learn is to watch people do it. And I've never cheered before in my life at that point. And I was like, okay, I guess I can try. And I did a tumbling pass and I learned choreography within like 10 minutes. And then I was put on the team. I was put on the varsity team immediately.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Okay, you were clearly mega talented and just playing it down here. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so for people who don't know, how many in a cheer team and what does that look like? How much of your schedule does that then take up?
Ooh, your entire schedule. And it depends on the time of the year. You're with, I would say about 30 girls. 30 girls or guys, depending on where you're from. For conditioning, as in training, getting the choreographing together for about 2 months to perfect a routine to have it full out so you can get it right, so you can never get it wrong. And then you have games if you perform at halftimes for football events that hire the team. And then you have competition season. competition season is where everything is cutthroat. You can't miss a beat and you can't miss anything. It's so intense, but I love it. It's kind of like pageants as well, which I love pageants too. Yeah.
So my knowledge of cheerleading, right, is based on having watched every single Bring It On movie. Just to let you know, this is where my knowledge base is coming from. Is that a sensible knowledge base, or is that madness?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Those are my favorite movies ever. Truly.
Yeah. Okay.
I love
Okay,
that.
good. Right. I was like, do I say this, or does Alyssa go, I cannot talk to this woman because she needs to bring it on as a basis for understanding my sport? So,
Perfect. Perfect.
so the question is, obviously, we now know I'm talking to you because you're an actress. So what is the journey from there to then acting? How does that happen?
Ooh, that's a really great question. From cheer to acting. Cheer, I actually got scouted at a game by a modeling agent. And it was when I was walking around, I really wasn't paying attention. And I got into commercial modeling. I started to model for brands like Mitchell and Ness, athletic brands, Nike, hair brands too. And I was about 15 at the time. And then a couple years later, I was 17 and I was in this modeling class, and I would always peek over at the actors' rooms because I would hear like the improv and the laugh and the joy. Runway modeling, there's not much laugh and joy. There's not. But I would always sneak into the actors' room and look in there. And one day I went to modeling runway class, and I said to my modeling teacher, I really want to go in there. Like jokingly, I was like, I really want to go in there. I want to see what's happening. And my modeling coach told me, he was like, you're too pretty to act. I don't think you could ever be an actress at all. Just stick to what you know. And I was like, okay.
You're too pretty to act.
Yes. Verbatim, that's what he said.
Okay, I think that was he just didn't want to lose you from his modelling class. But
So,
that's unique, isn't it? Being told you, okay. So when did you then go, do you know what? I'm going anyway.
that same day.
Okay, I love you. Well done. Awesome.
That same day. I'm telling you, Jen, as soon as somebody is just like, I'm deliberately to me, I'm going to underestimate you. I'm like, okay. And I do what I want to do.
And
It's a
presumably it
calling.
had a happy ending and you didn't walk in and they were like, Alyssa, just no, you're too pretty. Get out of this room.
No. Amen. They didn't say that. Imagine they were like, no thanks. Bye. No. It
So
was
it
great.
sounds like obviously part of the appeal of the acting was you could hear the sort of the joy and the laughter and the improv. Once you were doing it, what was the bit that you fell in love with? Do you remember like what the buzz is, what the thrill is for you?
Yes. Ooh, yes. Not knowing what's going to come next, even though you know all the words in a scene. With improv, that was it, not knowing what's going to come next. And to give you more backstory on that day, what made me really fall in love with it, I just got into the class and I sat in like in the middle of their session, and they didn't notice at first. And then when they did, they were like, oh, you came in late. And they just assumed that I was part of the class. And they asked me to perform a monologue. Yes. On the spot. And I was floored. I didn't know what to do. And then I remembered a trailer from a Marvel movie. I think Captain Marvel was coming out at the time. And it was Women's Empowerment Day. My birthday's on Women's Empowerment Day, March 8th. And I performed what Brie Larson was saying in the voiceover for the monologue. And I just made it up. And after I did that, and there was like a round of applause, and I like looked up and I was like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. It was like that magical moment that I guess you can hear a lot of people talk about. Yeah.
That is really special when you have that. Oh, I'm so happy you had that. And yes,
Thank you.
back to Marvel. Glad it served purpose. so, um, so then, did you then throw yourself into training? Was that the next thing once you realised you loved it? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. And so the next question is, do you remember your first paid acting job? Because that's quite a moment.
I do. My first paid acting job was on Fox Television, and it was bought by CBS. It was It was Blue Bloods. It was a procedural TV show in New York, and I got cast to be a daughter of a detective that was dying from kidney failure, and she's just calling out for her dad, and that was the most unreal moment ever in my life, because I haven't been on a real TV set at that point unless to be an extra or something like chill and cool, but that was the craziest experience of my life. I was so grateful for that.
So
Truly.
how many days did you get on set for kind of that sort of storyline?
3 days.
3
3
days.
days. And this is when I was living in New York for like a little bit. Um, they cast me on Monday, and then I had to be on set for the next 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, on the studio lot. It was really cool.
Wow. And okay, this is always the question I want to know. Do you remember did you buy anything to mark, like, this is the first paycheck from acting?
Yes, I have it framed. I have it framed. I was waiting for it to come in the mail, and I had it framed.
I love that.
Thank you.
And is it framed and up on a wall, or framed and just in a cupboard somewhere on the wall?
Framed and up on the wall. I'm in my apartment right now in Los Angeles, but it's framed and on the wall outside of my living room. We're like next to the self-tape setup.
I
Yeah.
love that. That's so awesome. So obviously now you're saying you're in LA. How long did you stay in New York then? And then was that the move of like, I'm going to go to LA because that's where I really need to be for sort of the TV acting? What was the decision?
It was, I had just finished competing in Miss New Jersey, USA. And that's because my mom had her residency in New Jersey, and it was just easier for me to compete. But I was still back and forth between New York. And I scored top 5 in all the state for the pageant. And thank you. Thank you. And that was really huge. It was a Miss Universe circuit. So that was really a huge marker. And I was still like, something's in me telling me to go, just to go.
Right.
Even though everybody in the pageant was telling me to come back next year, come back. I was like, I don't know, guys. Something's telling me to go to Los Angeles. And one day my friends just told me, they were like, hey, we're thinking about moving to, it was weird. It was weird. Everybody was like, we kind of want to move to Los Angeles. And they're actors too, which I'm so grateful for because they know. I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. It was really spontaneous, very out of nowhere, but I was prepared. And ever since I've been here, I have loved every single day. Truly. Yeah. Ugh.
I really want to
Getting
know now
goosebumps.
if there was like a joint road trip of everyone all in one car, or
Oh, no. 3 girls all in one car. Lord, send the flood.
But
No.
presumably, did you all then get a place together when you came to LA?
Yes, yes. Moving here alone, I was really hesitant about, and one of them is from New York, one of them is from Atlanta, and I was in New York, and then I got all my stuff from my childhood house in South Jersey. And we all flew separately, but we all came here together. And I'm glad because we just have so much stuff, and it was crazy. Oh my goodness.
That's so nice that you did it like that, because so many people say I went to LA and then I'm living in a house and I don't know anyone in the house. And I just thought that must be just yeah, there's a little bit of safety, isn't there? And just comfort of like, we're doing this together. This is our joint adventure of, yeah, making it in LA.
Yes.
So once you're in LA, what kind of work were you, because obviously there's many things you could be doing. Obviously you're doing the modeling and then the acting and then the pageants. What was kind of you looking for, and what were your sort of jobs that you were enjoying before we get onto verticals?
Ooh. The jobs I was looking for I also just got here 2 months ago. So this is
wow,
really recent. Yes,
this is new.
really recent.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Currently I've just been looking for working on productions because I do write films as well and creative direct too. And I'm a stylist, so my hands are kind of in a lot of pots, but my favorite pots, I guess.
Yeah.
And I really like to be on movie sets behind the scenes a lot as well.
Mm.
because I feel like that's where the magic really happens to like generate what happens on screen.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like just production side of things for sure.
So then I can go straight on to then Secrets of Vixen.
Yes.
So how did that project come about for you? And actually, the first question is: had you heard of verticals before?
No, I hadn't. And it was really interesting because it happened just after the pageant, truly. And my managers, my team, I love my team. They sent me auditions. They were like, "Hey, this is kind of new, so we're gonna send you out for something different." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Just send it over." Very open to new creative things because we're in new ages now, so why not? And I see this. I see the character breakdown. It says Zora, and I'm like, I love the name already. I'm ready. I need to know what's going on. And it says the Secrets of Vixen. And I read the script, and it's this little sassy girl that's super preppy, but then the second set aside is super sultry and dynamic, and it's night and day from what the first scene was. And I was so excited to film it because I hadn't played a character like that yet.
Yeah.
And it gave me the creative freedom to be a little bit more demure and then wild. Truly, yeah.
Because I was just thinking it's an amazing role to have, isn't it? Because you get to do, okay, I reckon you get to do three things in it. Because you get to do the kind of everything that is Vixen, and then you get Zora as when we meet her, but then I feel she's a girl then, and then Zora at the end, who I would say is a woman. Because I think
Yes.
would you say she takes her power, doesn't she? And is
She
like,
mixes together.
yeah. So that's like,
Yes.
there's like three almost parts there. Okay, so once you got cast, when did you meet the rest of the cast? Kind of how did that work? Did you instantly click with Claude and also particularly Chanel as well? Because obviously you have a big bond with Savannah. So how did all that work?
Oh my goodness. So when I got cast, I had just come back from a birthday dinner and I had just gotten off of the chemistry read call that night. And then I came back after the dinner and my team was like, "You have an offer. You're flying out tomorrow." I was like, "Oh, okay, I have to pack." I packed immediately. We went to Atlanta to film, which was super important for this project because that's where, honestly, the club scene, that's where it was born and metastasized beautifully, truly. And at the airport, that's when I met Claude, and I immediately felt a click. We had a click in the chemistry because we just improv'd and we went off of each other's instincts because one of us forgot the lines, but it ended up being an improv. And that's when I knew that I was gonna like work really well with this person. He's a great co-star, and truly, I don't think the project would have been the same without him or Chanel as well. She brought so much color and life to everything. When I had my scenes with her, it didn't even feel like it was it didn't even feel like it was Zora and Savannah. It felt like it was Alyssa and Chanel. And it was just so funny to like feel that radiating energy, like give back so you can bounce it off of each other in a scene, truly. And Xavier, Brendan is a showstopper. A showstopper. I want to work with him again.
I want to worry. Don't worry. We're coming on to Xavier. That character so much. So
You do.
I just think the whole thing's brilliant. So the first thing I want to talk to you about actually particularly is the relationship with Savannah. So you obviously I watch a lot of verticals, and one of the things that happens in quite a lot of verticals, particularly non-candy gel ones, is you very rarely get a female friendship. So often it's, women trying to tear each other down because, one wants the man and the other wants the man and, it's all going wrong. And I think that's one of the things that's so great about the whole Secrets of Sin universe. And again, in Secrets of Vixen, that just, it's the fact Savannah has no hesitation, does she? She's like, just come with me. I'll sort you out. It'll be fine. And it's just so refreshing to see. But then it's the friendship that builds between the two of you. And it sounds like it was just really natural. Did you have lots of fun together? And also, did you get to do was there dance training for the pole dancing together?
Absolutely. Best believe my arms were sore at the end of this, Jen.
Yeah.
luckily, Savannah Chanel, she is a pole teacher. She's a pole dance teacher. And I got the lovely, lovely privilege of being coached by her. All the choreography that you see Vixen do, she choreographed.
Wow.
And yes, it was amazing. And she taught me everything that I knew. That girl I got to give my hat's pat on the back, high five to her. And I felt like that built our bond even more, watching each other trip and fall, making sure each other was good with the little training montage that you see in the film in Secrets of Vixen. That was real life. 2 weeks before, but it was real life.
And there's someone coming in who's like, yeah, I'm an elite gymnast. I'm an elite cheerleader. What were the skills that were great that you could bring in, and what were you like, okay, this is something that I need that I don't necessarily have, so transferable from those skills.
Pole was a different beast. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be like riding a bike. Nope. It was like riding a unicycle. I felt like transferring over with elite gymnastics and cheer, my agility and my arm strength was what helped me out the best, and flexibility. Because she was like, try this. She was just throwing things at me. Try this. And I would try it and it would work.
Yeah. Oh, so that was awesome. So, okay, next question then is I have to ask about the costumes you get as Vixen. How was that? Because I mean, it's quite full on. I could understand that for some actresses, it's like, I'm not actually that comfortable wearing this. So how did you find that?
It was daunting because I hadn't worn anything like that on screen, I'm going to be honest. And I was kind of excited because it threw me more into Vixen's persona. Our lovely wardrobe operator, Aziza, she was like, let me know if you feel uncomfortable in anything. Let me know. And I was going to be like, yeah, I feel uncomfortable. No, everything was beautiful. And it made me feel more empowered as Zora and Vixen.
Mm.
And doing tricks on a pole, too.
Yeah. And I have to ask about the wig. Was it always going to be that kind of platinum blonde, or were there a few different looks tried before you landed on this is the Vixen look?
It was going to be we had a wig fitting. A wig fitting. Yes, it was. So I have a lot of hair. So I had to put it in like braids, and they were like, okay, we're going to bring it out. And I was like, okay, I don't know if it's going to be like the Secrets of Sin original kind of blonde wig. And then Tiffany, our hair, she comes out with this like blowout Jessica Rabbit-esque wig, and it's just platinum blonde. It was always going to be platinum blonde.
Because it looks phenomenal. I mean, you look amazing.
Thank
But
you,
then it
thank
works
you.
so well because then there's the total contrast with Zora at home, who, I mean, it's quite girl next door, isn't it? Would you say her look at home? It's very sort
Yes.
of natural. Obviously, your hair's really natural, and yeah, this is really nice, the contrast. So,
Thank you.
um, I want to ask you next about um the relationship, Zora's relationship with her brother.
That's a
How
heck
did you
of a
enjoy playing that? Because it's such an interesting relationship, isn't it? Because he's the older brother, but actually, in the end, it's Zora who's the one who needs to take control and sort things out.
How did I enjoy playing that? With Brendan, who plays Xavier, I enjoyed having somebody as a scene partner who could take it there, and he took it there a million times over, no matter how many takes we did. I enjoyed reaching to a part of my past where I did have to take care of people who weren't so well,
Mm.
mentally, or, struggling with addictions. And I had to pull from that part of my past, which, if you see me crying tears on the screen, they're real tears, truly, truly.
Mm.
It was necessary and healing, I'm sure, for anybody who watched. They could definitely relate to that if they
Mm.
went through that with an older sibling or
Mm.
parental guardian at
Mm.
all. Even though it was hard, I thoroughly enjoyed it. was kind of healing for me in a way. But that's how acting is.
Because I would say, obviously, the sort of near the end, I'm going to assume people have watched this, and obviously, you come home and he's overdosed. I mean, I sat and sobbed because it got to me, because you were also in that scene and in moment, and yeah, it was just, I wanted to say it was phenomenal. And it's interesting because obviously I've spoken to Claude and he said you were all kind of in pieces as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a really hard scene to film. Before the scene, Brendan got in his zone. Claude got in my. We just like had a moment before we're like, okay, we can do this, because we had to walk around the door, and I said to him, I was like, let's murder this, and he was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, and we took a deep breath because we knew it was gonna be heavy. And right when the moment when we're all on the floor on the couch, and Brendan's shuddering, Xavier shuddering, Zora's crying, and Quincy's on the couch consolidating both. It was like a beautiful synergy just to feel and witness, because you just feel each actor just come together as one. And that's such a lovely feeling. And I'm happy that it translated to you on screen. I'm not happy that you sobbed, but I'm happy it translated
I think
to you.
it's cathartic sometimes. And it was easier because the ending is essentially happy, and that he's like, I need to get this sorted. And obviously then we have a flash forward and we can see that everyone's all right. I think if it hadn't had a happy ending, I might not have been quite so okay. So, but yeah, I just wanted you to know it was amazing. It was really, really powerful. So
Thank you.
bravo.
Thank
to
you so much.
Now, the other things I want to talk to you about are the characters, Zora and Vixen, because it's really interesting that you said that the first, your birthday being on Women's Empowerment Day.
Yes, my birthday
This
is
is what I
Wednesday.
love about Zora, because we have the whole, obviously, the play, and then, Quincy works out. But then there's the whole, well, I'm not really happy with you dancing in this club.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably for you, that was actually an awesome part of the script where the character then goes of what happens next. Yeah. In that, actually, I think you'll find. Was that quite empowering? Because I think for me, that's, again, one of the reasons I love the story, because, other verticals, that, there's issues that, stuff isn't always particularly that positive around women. And this one, I think, is incredibly positive because of how much Zora takes control and is like, I'm doing this because I want to do this. This is nothing to do with you.
Yep.
What were the bits that you loved about that? Were there any particular scenes where you're like, this feels so good?
Yes, actually. I can remember like this exactly which outfit I was wearing. I was wearing like this black fishnet bralette and matching underwear and like these long boots. And that's where Quincy says, I'll give you the money so you don't have to work here. And then Zora takes Vixen takes the $100 bill and puts it back on his chest and says, you can't buy me. And then she walks away and she just orders the bartender to give her drink that's already under the counter. And I'm talking about owning my own club. And that just felt so amazing. As a woman, that feels so amazing, because as a woman, we're usually just subjected to our bodies, and that's it. And for Zora, Vixen, her body is her business, and it's worked out well, no matter what her brother or her man said. I specifically that moment, I loved.
And then obviously as well, you also, well, so not you, Zora has the pushback of like, what are you doing as well? Because obviously there's a lot, it's kind of hinted at Quincy, but we don't really know what's going on with his fighting career, do we?
No. He likes to be a little mysterious. And dare I say, it's a double standard. He can have his mysterious fighting career and have all this money and not tell Zora anything. But the moment he finds out that she's the same person that's giving him lap dances, it's, whoa, I don't want this to happen. I don't want this to happen. But you need to even out that double standard a little bit, because at the end of the day, what he's doing is illegal. Truly.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
100%. Thank you for putting that out there.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
So the thing that I think for me that really then rescues the character of Quincy is the whole revelation about the love note. But obviously teenage Zora's written him, and then actually he's kept it, and it's been in his bag, and it's his lucky charm. We just told that she's always liked him. Did you ever try and fill that out in your head of like when she fell in love with him or kind of what it was about?
Yes, I funnily enough, since we're just being an open book, I had a like long time childhood crush when I was younger and even to when I was older, but like we don't speak anymore. And I felt like that I could apply that as an actor does to this scenario and the yearning, the longing for actually being with somebody that you've always wanted to be with. That's what I applied to this relationship. And yeah, it was super fun.
And I have to ask, that's one of the other things that I like because, okay, again, you probably watched them, but some other verticals when they're trying to establish the kind of the person who's in the way of the relationship, which is also hang on, I can't remember the character's name. I'm just looking at IMDb. Rochelle, who's I mean, she thinks she's not really Quincy's girlfriend, is she? She's just the hanger on, but. There's stuff that they sometimes do. It's like, oh, she did this or that. And actually, I think she does the cruelest thing of like revealing something that intimate and kind of embarrassing. That's like,
When
we've all been there, haven't we? When something really embarrassing like that's happened.
Yes. I was on set and we were in the middle of the scene and I just felt the embarrassment. I'm that kind of person that like cannot stand secondhand embarrassment. But like when it's my character that's like low-key getting embarrassed, I feel myself like shudder. But when she brought up the poem, at like when we were at the pool, and I was like, you told her about my poem. Like I'm running away in anger and embarrassment. But it's kind of a sentimental thing that makes her be like, oh, he actually likes me. Zora to Quincy.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing, isn't it? Because it's really embarrassing, but it's the first thing like, oh, wow, he kept that. Okay, that means something. So now I want to talk about the yoga, because obviously this now makes sense to me, because I spent the yoga scene going, oh my goodness, this woman is incredibly flexible, but now we know why, because you're very athletic. Was it always written as a yoga scene, or was that put in once they realised that you would be able to do that?
It was written as a yoga scene, which is like amazing. I guess it was just kismet that I was flexible. Because I asked when we were on set for that specific scene, I was reading the sides. I was like, okay, can I do something? And the leg up was my idea. The downward dog facing up, and then the warrior position, that was my idea. Really, she was just supposed to be normally stretching. But yeah, there's something in there. Oh, there's something fun.
But I think because of what you were able to add, it made it sizzle off the screen, basically. That scene sizzled. Just
Really?
You did, honestly. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Casino. You made yoga hot. So well done.
Hot yoga.
Hot yoga, yeah, in a new way.
Very new
so
way.
Just overall, were there any other favourite scenes that we haven't covered that you really adored?
When I would say this was our callback scene with Quincy and I, Claude and I feel like this is really where our chemistry sparked. It was when Zora's in like this pinstripe pink and white button up and she's doing her homework. And Quincy comes and surprises her like from behind the chair and they're talking about dating. Like, oh, are you on dating apps? No. Are you? And it's kind of just like this back and forth. That's like are you flirting? I don't know if you're flirting, but it doesn't matter because Xavier comes in and then knocks the fantasy right off the table. That was one of my favorite scenes, chemistry-wise, with all three of us, Brendan and Quincy, Brendan and Claude.
Yeah.
And that immediately cuts into my next scene with Savannah. And I feel like that a rhythm of just people back to back with chemistry. Those are my favorite scene sequences. I feel like, yeah, I just love
Yeah, and it
this
does work
film.
really well because you're right, because it does establish this chemistry early on. And yeah, as you said, as soon as Big Brother walks in, it's like, okay, that's
Mhm.
not really cards because Big Brother's in the room. Um, so once you finished filming it, I happen to know there was a watch party. How was that going then to, and kind of who was at that?
Oh goodness. So our lovely director, lovely director. I value this woman with all of the love in my heart, truly. She she set up something for Claude and I to go to, and it was in Los Angeles because we both so happened to be in Los Angeles at the moment. And we it was this really intimate screening for new projects in Hollywood, and they have never screened a vertical before. So it's called Fish and Scripts, and I'm still involved in that community. Ever since that screening, it's been like this with the community, and I'm super grateful for that. We walked in, and they didn't know that it was going to be our film that they were watching.
Oh,
um, yes,
yeah.
yes. Nobody knew until they saw me on a pole on the screen. um, and we went around. We did announcements, and they had us sit on the couch, and a couple people sit on the couch. The hosts and Claude and the director and I were sitting on the couch, and everybody else was on the floor. And they were like, "Okay, time to watch the screen." And you just see the opening scene of me falling and tripping, Zora just waiting for Savannah to save her, and the next thing you know, I'm on a pole, and everybody in the room looks at me like, they're like, "That's you." Yeah, that watch party was very much something, but it was a good introduction to everybody I didn't know in the room. Um, yeah.
And what
That's
were
some of
kind of
it.
the feedback you got? That was quite interesting. So getting to see other people's reactions to it, apart from them all going, "Wow, okay, that's you." Yeah, what was the feedback you got from people in the moment?
In the moment, oh goodness gracious, I remember this day like it was yesterday, probably because my nerves were on 10. Um, when I was crying, I remember a lot of scenes where I was crying. They're like, "Okay, girl, you can cry." They were really pulled in. Even if you couldn't hear what was going on in the screen, I saw people not even blinking when a serious scene was happening. And that, even though it wasn't verbal feedback, that said a lot. Body language just said a lot. And the gasp and people asking me, "How did you do that? Was that real?" With different acrobatic scenes, or in the scene where Zora and Xavier are in the kitchen fighting after she tells him, "I'm a stripper, I'm a dancer."
Mm.
People people were like, "Was that hard to do?" And the OD scene, specifically, that's where the room was silent, truly silent. And Claude Claude goes over to me and was like, "Yeah, we did that." Because you could hear a pin drop, truly. Yeah, whew, that was a crazy night.
I love that you have that though, and that you could get that emotion and how it impacted people. That's really quite rewarding, actually. I'm really glad that that was all arranged for you. You also deserve it because you did such an awesome job.
Oh, thank
So
you.
my question is, when it then comes out, have you had people contacting you about it? Kind of, has it, is it something that people now talk to you about? What is that like?
Yes. I didn't I didn't know. It was like a month after they told us that they would be promoting it. I didn't know how. Um and one day my friend is on the phone with my other friend that lives with me, my lovely
Mm.
roommate. And she's on the phone with her friend, and I walk in the room, it's like FaceTime, and she's like, "Is that Vixen?" And I'm like, "What's going on?" And she just starts doing like my dance routine, and then she starts reciting some lines from the film. And I'm just like,
Oh, that's so cool.
and I had no clue. Like, I'm like, she's like, I can't believe you're a real person. I can't believe like you're standing in front of the camera right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, girl, what are you talking about? You watched it? She was like, yeah, it's everywhere. I'm like, what do you mean? And lo and behold, that week after, I get people on TikTok telling me, I love what you did in the film. I need to see you guys work together more. I'm waiting for a part two. Uh, I've had the creator EJ be like, Alyssa, this was amazing. Please, we need to do it again. I've had DMs, and Claude and I have talked about, oh my gosh, people are seeing this. This is amazing. And my family as well, being like, is this you? What's up? And lo and behold, it's the yoga scene. So, they can't, can't hide that. But yeah, I've had a lot of people reach out. It's been great. I love that, truly.
And so were you aware that, see, it's kind of a reinterpretation of the storyline that has also been done as sort of Secrets of Sin and Secrets of Sin 2. Did you know that beforehand, and have you watched that, or did you decide I'm going to make sure this is completely separate?
I did watch it. I did because I'm a real researcher. I like to know, especially if it's a book adaptation. And EJ's writing is so thorough. I really love her writing. And I was like, okay, what's Secrets of Sin? I downloaded the Candy Jar app, and I did buy the entire series. I'm not gonna lie, I did buy it, and I watched it, and I was like, "Oof!" And this was the night before the table read. I was studying up on the script and everything that Secrets of Sin was, and I wanted to do the memory of Secrets of Sin right, but obviously add our own little twist on it because it is different. It is an all Black cast. It is something that Candy Jar hadn't seen before. And I took notes on how I could make it different and really honor the memory of Atlanta dancers, Atlanta strippers, and the violence that happens actually truly behind the scenes, because I have tons of friends in Atlanta. And I asked them, like, really, I have friends that are dancers. I asked them, how can I do this? What can I portray? And I wanted to make it my own, but honor Secrets of Sin as well, because Secrets of Sin was amazing. It was so good.
Because I think what's brilliant is they both sit entirely separately, and they're both totally brilliant projects, and I'm quite happy to watch both. And I think you all make your interpretation of, I guess, sort of the similar base character totally your own, and are quite different. So I love that. I love it so much. The thing that though is obviously exciting is, obviously we know that in Secrets of Sin there's a Secrets of Sin 2.
Yes.
So I'm feeling, we know that the writer's written it, so we could have a Secrets of Vixen 2 as well, which would be very exciting. Have you heard anything, or is it I need to do a campaign, which I'm quite happy to do? Come on, people.
I wouldn't blame you if you did a little. I wouldn't blame you at all, Jen. I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
I have not heard much yet, but I would love for there to be a season 2 of Secrets of Vixen. I'm more than ready. I've been doing some yoga. And
okay, so Alyssa's basically in training. We need to make this happen, because I'm really excited. Because obviously, it will be really interesting to see what your world take on it would be. But we know that generally it's going to dig more into Quincy and kind of who Quincy is and what he's got going on, and then it's going to be more about Zora stepping into her power and basically being the woman who ends up basically being a kick-ass businesswoman. Basically, she's just like one of the best businesswomen out there. She's so awesome. So yeah, we need that to happen. Candy Jar, I love you, but please can you make this happen, because we need more. And then just sort of going forward, so obviously you said that you're doing a lot on film sets. Kind of what projects have you got coming up then? What can we maybe look out to seeing you in, or how can we support you?
was thinking about one that I just left the other day, but I cannot talk about it at all.
Okay.
Can't wait for that to come out. But it's amazing. I'm really excited for it. Something else, I just came back from New York last month because I booked a lead role as in a horror anthology, and I play the cautious best friend, opposite of Vixen, opposite Vixen, the cautious best friend. And I do have another film coming out as well in, I'm pretty sure, January. That's premiering in New York too. Yes.
I'm worried about cautious best friend. Because I feel if you put the word horror and cautious best friend together,
They
right?
don't.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think we need to say more. Um, so where are you most active on socials then? Because then obviously that's how people are going to be able to follow you. Are you a TikTok or Instagram girl?
Ooh, Lord forgive me. Both. Both. I avidly post on TikTok. I avidly post on Instagram. My at is Alyssa Jordan-Jones, all socials. Makes it easy. Have a long name.
Yeah.
But yes.
Okay. So that's going to be the key then, because obviously I understand that you're on NDAs and things. So yeah, follow along there and you'll be able to see when you have more projects coming out. So just finally, because you've been so nice and shared so much, since you fell in love with acting, who are the actresses in particular that you love? Who do you admire and go, I want to watch them in everything they do because I know they will bring it?
Oh, I will say this because I actually saw her in person the other day at a book signing. And I made a TikTok video about how I saw her. And that kind of did well too. Viola Davis. Yeah.
Well, it's Viola Davis.
Yeah. I saw that woman like standing 10 feet away from me for like 2 hours just talking. And she made eye contact with me like 3 times. And I promise you my life is complete now. I promise. Viola Davis, Angela Bassett, and Halle Berry. Those are like my big three.
Ooh,
Big three.
okay, and now I'm going to go. Now we've done that. Favorite roles for each of them as well. Of like, is there a...
Okay. Viola Davis, just because I like How to Get Away with Murder, Annalise Keating. Or when she played DC, when she played the woman in DC. Oh, it's completely leaving my mind right. I know every single DC character. Amanda. When she played Amanda in DC, and Angela Bassett when she played Tina Turner. That was the movie that made me want to act, truly. And Halle
Right.
Berry, Catwoman, or when she was in Monsters Ball.
Mm.
Monsters Ball was gut-wrenching, but one of my favorite movies ever. That's how you
Yeah.
that's how you know I watch all the
Yeah.
movies.
It was that amazing period, isn't it, where she kind of absolutely nailed both, because obviously she did Catwoman, which is like iconic blockbuster, but then Monsters Ball, which was iconic, kind of more the indie, as you said, the kind of the massive emotional sort of the Oscar winning one as well. And I thought that it's like the dream scenario in a career, isn't it? To be able to have those sort of two roles coming out. Yeah. Which will
Yes.
happen. Um,
Fingers crossed.
so yeah, I just want to say thank you so much, because you're an absolute superstar and I really appreciate you've spent the time with me. And yeah, just wish you all best with future projects, and everyone needs to follow along. And Secrets of Vixen 2 coming soon, we hope.
Thank you so much, Jen. It's been wonderful. You are truly a light. I was so excited to talk to you, and I'm even more excited to talk to you again, hopefully, in the future, and stay in touch.
I think this is the plan. It will be, we're going to check in, and we'll check in after obviously you've done Secrets of Vixen 2. That'd be awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.